Hello again, everyone. Welcome to Washington Gun Law TV. I'm Washington Gun Law President William Kirk. Thanks for joining us. Hey, we're going to talk about a bunch of new crazy gun laws. Oh, that's right. That means we're talking about California. We're also going to talk about how it's going to be rather interesting to see how America's favorite gun-grabbing governor, this guy right here, might react to some of this legislation. So today, let's spend a few minutes and let's talk about California goes full crazy. What will he do? Okay, hey, listen, before we get going too far down the road we're going down, this is normally a time I give a shout out to Philip P., but we're talking about the state of California, and I've been meaning to have an opportunity to talk about this. But back on August 22nd, the entire Second Amendment community, and in particular the Second Amendment community in California, lost an absolute giant, a champion for all of our individual liberties, and that is Sam Paredes. Sam was a board member of the Gun Owners of America. He was a longtime contributing member of the Gun Owners Foundation and had served as the executive director of Gun Owners of California for over 40 years. Now, anyone who ever got to know Sam, myself included, will tell you that for as amazing as all of his accomplishments were, he was actually a much more amazing gentleman. Unfortunately, we lost Sam back on August 22nd. We want to send our thoughts, prayers, and condolences to the entire Paredes family and to everybody in the Second Amendment community because we truly have lost one of the greats. Rest in peace, Sam. Okay, you know we're talking about crazy gun laws when we're talking about California, and you know when we're talking about California, we're talking about crazy gun laws. Not one, not two, not three, but four separate pieces of legislation now sit on the launching pad. And when I say on the launching pad, California, what I want you to understand is they've already passed out of their chamber of origin. They've already made it through committees in the other chamber, and they are on for third reading, which means they could be voted on at any time. Now, for those of you who don't live in California, you may be sitting there going, why the hell am I going to watch this video? Well, I'm telling you, take it from somebody in Washington, ask the folks in Colorado, ask the folks in New Mexico, ask the folks in Illinois. What starts in California can spread to your state. It's like a bad cancer. Let's get through all of the legislation. Okay, the first one is Assembly Bill 1078. Now, as we know, there was already a case called Nguyen v. Bonta that struck down California's, hey, you only get to buy one gun every 30 days. The California state legislature, and it's right in the bill itself, has actually said, well, then we're just going to try to limit it to 3 guns every 30 days. And when that fails, I'm assuming that they'll just keep playing with the numbers until the Ninth Circuit at one point goes, okay, that number is good. Now, listen, it already passed out of the Assembly. It's over in the Senate. It passed out of Senate appropriations on August 29th by a vote of 5-2 directly on party lines and has been placed on for third reading, which means at any moment it can be placed onto the Senate floor and voted, and obviously the votes are there. So that is Assembly Bill 1078. Now, the most controversial bill, and that's saying something when you consider everything that we're going to talk about today, is Assembly Bill 1127. It is referred to as the Glock ban because what it does is it will ban the sale and possession of any firearm that has a crucible trigger. A crucible trigger is one that can be converted through a device known as the Glock switch. But if you think it's just Glocks, it's going to be all the other Glock clones out there. So this has the potential to actually ban thousands of models of handguns in the state of California. Now, this passed out of the Assembly all the way back on June 3rd. It went over to the Senate, and it has now come out of Senate appropriations on August 29th by that same party line vote of 5-2. This too has been placed on for third reading, which means it can be put on the floor at any moment and voted on, and yes, the votes are there. Now, this piece of legislation for this guy right here, who suddenly is trying to portray himself as a moderate, even though he has well established himself as America's most gun-grabbing governor ever known, it will be very interesting because there is no doubt that this bill will have a significant constitutional challenge. This is a ban on handguns. And so there is a case directly on point that kind of really talks about that. So that is Assembly Bill 1127. And Listen, we have seen Governor Newsom veto other pieces of legislation. We have seen him veto pieces of legislation that we thought no way in hell would he actually veto. Now, none of that has been Second Amendment legislation, okay? The governor has never found a piece of gun control that he didn't absolutely adore. But let's keep our eyes on this. Once it passes out of the Senate, what is the governor going to do with this bill? Assembly Bill 1263. Okay, this is a new prohibition on 3D printing blueprints, CDC machine printing blueprints, things known as computer-aided diagrams and all that stuff, all the technical data necessary to print firearms or firearm components. There already is law in California that makes it illegal, but it's only a civil infraction. This will actually criminalize this activity, and I want you to be aware, California, it may start as a misdemeanor, but after multiple offenses it becomes a felony. But even at the misdemeanor level, this will suspend your Second Amendment rights. Once again, this passed out of the Assembly already. It's been sitting in the Senate, and it came out of appropriations on August 29th by, shockingly, a vote of 5-2. It is now scheduled for third reading at any time and could be placed on the floor for a Senate vote. Will be interesting to watch this case. This case not only has interesting Second Amendment components, it actually has a considerable amount of First Amendment components to it as well. Senate Bill 704. Now, this is a background check that will be required if you're trying to purchase a barrel. Now, coming off the heels of Rody v. Bonta, which struck down California's mandatory background checks for ammunition, California Senate here is not dissuaded at all, and they have already passed this out of the Chamber of Origin. It is passed out of the Senate. This bill has then gone over to the Assembly. It went into multiple committees, most recently into the Appropriations Committee, where it passed out of there along a party line vote of 11-4. This means this now goes on to the Assembly floor for third reading, which means it could be voted on at any time. That, again, is Senate Bill 704. Now, are any of these gun laws going to save lives? Absolutely not. But then again, this is California. They're not passing these laws to try to save lives. They are passing these laws to disarm you, the lawful and responsible California resident. Now, California has never had a good Second Amendment governor, going back quite a ways, actually. But this particular governor has literally made it his mantra to try to disarm citizens in whichever way is humanly possible. Now he's going to be presented with 4 pieces of legislation because, candidly, California, the chance of all 4 of these passing and getting to the governor's desk are all really, really good. And for a guy who's trying to portray himself as a moderate, and for a mainstream media that will suck up any of that and help play along in that little charade, it will be very interesting to see what the governor does with these bills, in particular with Assembly Bill 1127, which essentially is a ban on America's most popular handgun brand. Okay, California, listen, we're going to go ahead and we're going to link up all of the bills down below so you don't have to take our word for it. You can geek out on them for yourself. If you got any questions about this or anything else related to what's left of our Second Amendment rights, you guys should know how to get a hold of Washington gun law by now. But if you don't, that's okay. That information down there in the description box. If you got an idea for a video we should be doing around here, cool. You click on that link right there and you tell us all about it. If you want to subscribe to our monthly newsletter, the ability to do that is down there in the description box. And then finally, and most importantly, let's everyone remember that part of being the lawful and responsible gun owner, like we talk about all the time here, is to know what the law is in every situation and how it applies to you in any instance that you may find yourself. Until next time, thanks for watching and stay safe.